DreAllDay.com. Now tuned in to the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve is yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That's the go-getter energy that moves me and you and everyone else out there to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. We put all this together into one bundle, one package, one mindset, one method, one philosophy, one show. This masterclass right here that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day. Welcome to the show. Today's topic is why life will never, ever be perfect. Sometimes we can get frustrated, angry with ourselves, with other people, with a project we're working on, just with life in general, simply because things are out of place. Things are not going the way that we wanted them to go. When we don't have everything in our lives all together and quote unquote correct at the same time, we can sometimes feel a little bit, I don't know, we can start to let some negative emotions start to creep in on us simply because everything's not right. Everything's not where it's supposed to be. As soon as we fix one thing, there's another thing. As soon as we handle that, there's something else. There always seems to be something that we need to address, something that we need to fix, something that we need to work on, something that we need to handle. And sometimes we can get a little bit just pissed off at life over the fact that there's always something. It never seems to all get handled all at the same time. Today's aim, the aim of today's masterclass is to help you understand that a perfect life where everything is handled and everything's taken care of and there's nothing that needs to be addressed, fixed, altered, adjusted, that is a myth. Now, that's not going to happen. So if you've been beating yourself up or beating anybody else up or beating up life or trying to beat up life because of the fact that things are not all perfect, I want you to understand that you're chasing a ghost. All right, that's not going to exist. It is a myth. And my aim by the end of today's masterclass is for you to be emotionally okay with the fact that things are not always going to be perfect. Actually, things will probably never be perfect. Point number one. Today's topic, once again, is why life will never be perfect. As they say, in life, you will always be either in the middle of a situation, on your way out of a situation, or on your way into a situation. All right, we call this life. There's always some type of situation or circumstance or problem that you need to deal with that is probably not something that you want to have to be dealing with, that is something that you probably don't want to exist, but you need to address it and you need to handle it in some way, shape, or form. All right, this is just what it means to be a human being. This is just what it means to be alive. The only perfect life that have no situations or circumstances or problems that need to be handled are the lives of dead people. All right, and they're dead, so they don't have any lives. Their life is over. All right, so the only way it's going to be perfect is for you to die. Okay, that's the only time everything's going to be great. Expect that there will always be something to fix. There will always be something to address, something to be handled in your life. There will always be something on your plate. All right, as soon as you feel like you cleared the plate off, something else is going to get plopped down on the plate. You're going to have to handle that too. Expecting perfection out of your life and out of expecting every circumstance to just line up. You want the stars all to align and everything to be great. All right, expecting that will drive you crazy because you're never going to get there. All right, and then you're going to start thinking that there's something wrong with you, or there's something wrong with what you're doing, or there's something wrong with your company, or something wrong with the people around you, or that you're just not destined to be successful. You're going to start thinking those things because you'll never be able to get everything perfect. So stop expecting things to get perfect unless you enjoy going after something that you could never reach. Now, maybe there are some people who like that. You like to set a goal that you know you can never logically reach, but you just love the chase of going after it over and over again, knowing that you're not actually going to get to it, but you may get close. If you're that type of person, and those people are very rare, then okay, then you can expect perfection. But if you're not that type of person, stop trying to expect perfection and be okay with the fact that everything ain't going to be great. Be okay with there are going to be some dishes in the sink, so to speak, as a metaphor there, or literal. Point number two. Today's topic is why life will never be perfect. Remember that human beings are imperfect. All right, can we agree? All right, if there's anybody here who is just perfect, then you can let me know. We got to interview you for the show. Human beings are imperfect, and human beings, we have created most of what we deal with in our daily lives. We've created the buildings, the cars, the jobs, the clothes, the hashtags, a lot of the concepts and ideas. They've all come from some human being. Maybe not somebody that you know, but somewhere along the line, someone has created damn near everything that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, right? So, with so many things that have been created and carried out by billions of imperfect beings, you should expect things to not be perfect, right? Because everything's been created by people who ain't perfect. So how are you going to create something perfect from a whole bunch of beings that are not perfect? It doesn't make sense, does it? Apple trees don't grow bananas. Apple stores don't sell Androids. Water fountains don't dispense coffee. If you plant potatoes, don't expect tomatoes. So imperfect human beings cannot make perfect lives. There's no such thing. I mean, what sense would that make? How is an imperfect being going to create a perfect outcome? How are a whole bunch of imperfect beings, 7, 8 billion of us, going to create any type of perfection in the world when there are 8 billion inputs of imperfection? You can't create an output of perfection when all the inputs are coming from imperfect beings, imperfect creations. I mean, that just makes sense to me. Does it make sense to you? So when you're looking around at your life, and maybe you go online and you see everything that's going on in your life, and you're seeing the highlight reels of what everyone else's lives look like, and maybe it looks like their life is perfect. It looks like everything is working out. You read the captions and it sounds like everything is just going great for that individual. I guarantee you that they got some things that they need to handle too. They got some things on their plate they need to deal with. They got some dirty laundry in the hamper. They got some dirty dishes in the sink. They got some things that either that they know they need to address, or maybe they're just not dealing with them in the moment, or they're not thinking about them in the moment. But everybody got something. All right, everybody got some, as they say, everybody got some shit with them. Okay, that's how the saying goes in our culture. Human beings are imperfect. So if you're expecting perfection from yourself because you've been comparing what you have going on to what it looks like somebody else has going on, though, that the problem there is that you're fooling yourself in thinking that somebody else has perfection going on because you have imperfection. All right, every one of us, we see everything that's going on in our lives, so we know exactly what it is. We don't see everything that's going on in anyone else's lives but our own, all right? Because we only know our own thoughts. We only know what's going on in our minds. We don't know what's going on in another person's mind. Even if you spend 24 hours a day with them, you don't know how they're thinking. They're not wired the same way as you. So even though things may seem like they're going great for that person, they still got some things that they need to handle, some things they need to deal with. And maybe they're dealing with them, and maybe they're ignoring them. Maybe they don't even know about them, but they're there. All right, one way or another for every single human being on this planet. So understanding emotionally as well as logically that everybody is imperfect, you can stop expecting perfection from yourself and stop thinking that you are seeing perfection from another person. You're seeing the illusion of perfection from another person. It is definitely 100% an illusion from another person because, again, there's no perfect human. If there's a perfect human that you know of, name them. I want to know who they are. I want to meet this individual. I haven't come across one yet. I haven't heard of one yet, and I do a lot of reading. I haven't heard of a single perfect human being. So if you're expecting perfection from you or from anyone else, you just have, this is one time that I'll use this word, unrealistic expectations. Again, if you planted an apple tree and it starts to sprout fruit, you wouldn't expect bananas to come off of it. That wouldn't make sense. You expect apples because it's an apple tree. If you went to an Apple store, you wouldn't go in there and ask them, hey, do you have any Androids? They would probably look at you funny and say, hey, you know that you're in an Apple store right now, not an Android store, right? If you push the button on a water fountain and it starts to dispense fluid, you wouldn't expect coffee to come out of the machine, right? Why? Because we know what we're going to get out of these things. A water fountain is going to give you water. Apple store is going to sell you Apple products. An apple tree is going to produce apples. So an imperfect human is going to produce what? An imperfect life. An imperfect product, an imperfect job, an imperfect concept. Everything that human beings produce, there is going to be a flaw in it because human beings themselves have flaws in them. All right, there's no flawless person out there. Therefore, a flawless person cannot produce a flawless product, a flawless idea, a flawless concept, or a flawless life. So if your life is with flaws right now, all right, accept that. Just accept that and know that that confirms that you're human. All right, if your life was perfect, then all of a sudden you're either not human anymore or you're dead. All right, that's when your life would be perfect because you won't have any problems. All right, at least not any that you got to address. Point number 3, today's topic is why life will never be perfect. Number 3, be at peace with the fact that you won't ever get to perfect. Be at peace with the fact that things are never going to be, all your ducks are not ever going to be all lined up in a row. that things are never be all exactly as you want them to be, that other people are never always going to do exactly as you want or need or hope them to do, that the things that you do will always have some sort of flaw within them. Maybe it's a flaw that you can live with, maybe it's one that's driving you crazy, but there will always be a flaw in everything that you produce, because there's a flaw in every one of us. And as I just explained in point number 2, from a flawed being, you cannot produce a perfect result. It makes no sense. So be at peace with that. Allow yourself to go to sleep at night and watch TV and take a walk in the park and to go on a vacation, knowing while you're doing those things that there are areas of your life that could be improved. Okay, so just because you think you could stand to lose 10 pounds doesn't mean you should. Doesn't mean you should. What's the word that I'm looking for here? It doesn't mean that you should keep yourself away from going on a vacation. I can't go on vacation. I haven't earned a vacation because I haven't lost that 10 pounds. Or, I could probably put together some more ad campaigns for my business, so it's not right for me to sit down and watch TV. I could have done better with the way that I played in my game tonight, so I don't deserve to eat dinner. It doesn't make sense. You got to be at peace with the fact that you're never going to be perfect. No matter how hard you try, no matter how hard you push yourself, no matter how motivated that you want to get yourself, no matter how hyped up you want to get, allow yourself to go to sleep, watch TV, and enjoy life, knowing that it's not going to be perfect, knowing that there are imperfections in life. So when there are imperfections in your life, that means you're alive. That means you're human. You're just like everybody else, at least in that sense. Working on things tirelessly because you're chasing perfection, that still will not make them perfect. I don't care how hard you work, how motivated you are, how little you sleep, how skilled or talented you consider yourself to be. Working harder and harder on things because you think they need to be perfect, or because you feel like you don't deserve any leisure time or rest time. You don't deserve to sleep. You don't deserve to relax because things are not perfect yet. What you're basically going to do is work yourself to death. And I mean work yourself to death in a couple ways. First of all, literally, that's all you're going to be doing is working until you die. So you will literally work yourself to death. But what you'll also do is create stress and anxiety and rushes of cortisol within your body, which actually speeds up your death, or it speeds up your path to the graveyard. That leads to disease, it leads to sickness, it weakens your immune system, it weakens your mind, it weakens your spirit, it weakens your body, and that'll just speed up your death. So you'll still work yourself to death, you'll just do it a whole lot faster, in the metaphorical sense or the spiritual sense, the way that I'm explaining it to you here. Working on things tirelessly will not make them perfect because you ain't perfect. Unless you become a computer that doesn't make mistakes. But computers are programmed by humans, so there may always be some kind of bugs in them. Think about that. You, imperfect human, you are incapable of creating a perfect life. So if you're looking for a perfect life, stop looking. Look for an imperfect life, you found it. Stop trying and stop expecting of yourself for everything to be just right and perfect and to work exactly as you want it to work, because simply that's just not the way that it goes. All right, you all right with that? You accept that? If not, listen to everything I just said all over again until you do. Let's recap today's topic, which is why life will never be perfect. Sometimes we get flustered, frustrated, angry with ourselves because something is out of place. Things aren't going exactly as we want them to go. And when we don't have everything all together and we don't have everything quote unquote correct all at the same time, we get pissed off at ourselves, at others, and at life. But I want you to understand, and this is my aim here in this class, that a perfect life is a myth. If you thought you were going after a perfect life and you think you have a picture of what that looks like, it's a myth. If you've seen somebody else looking like they have a perfect life, that is an illusion. They're just showing you what they want to show you. There is not perfection behind that. There's some things that they need to deal with, some shit that they got with them that you may either know about or not know about. But just like you, everybody else has things they got to handle too. Nobody has a perfect life. Point number one. As they say, in life, you will always be either in the middle of a situation, just coming out of a situation, or on your way into a situation. We call that life. We call it being human. If you're not in, coming out of, or in the middle of a situation, that means you're not alive. Something's wrong with you. You should probably call your doctor, because you might not be alive anymore. The life might have left your body. Or you might be in that movie, The Sixth Sense. Now, the only perfect life with no situations to be handled are the lives of dead people. Expect that there will always be something to fix, something to address, something to be handled in your life. Expecting perfection will drive you crazy because you will never get there unless you happen to enjoy going after something that you can never reach. All right. So if you're driving yourself towards perfection, I hope you got a lot of gas in that car because you're going to be driving for a long time. Point number two, human beings are imperfect. And we have created most of what we deal with every day. Buildings, cars, jobs, clothes, hashtags, ideas. They all came from a human being, and every human's imperfect. So even if you didn't create it, anything you deal with, there is an imperfection within it, guaranteed. So there are so many things created and carried out by billions of imperfect beings. When you expect things to not be perfect, I mean, an apple tree is going to not grow bananas because apple trees produce apples. Apple stores don't sell Androids. Water fountains don't produce coffee. If you plant potatoes, you don't expect tomatoes. So if you have an imperfect human creating something, wouldn't you expect there to be some imperfections and some flaws in whatever they create? Of course. Now, will a flaw make it unusable? No. But there will be flaws. If you look hard enough, you'll find a flaw in anything. You'll find a flaw in anyone. And if you look hard enough in your own life, you'll find flaws. You probably don't even have to look so hard. Point number 3. Be at peace with the fact that you won't ever get to perfect. Allow yourself to sleep at night and watch TV and take a walk in the park and watch Netflix for 3 hours and go on vacation, knowing that there are areas of your life that you could be doing better in. No, I know that you could work harder at your job. I know you could write another book. I know you could produce another blog post. I know you can make 10 more phone calls, but it's okay to go to sleep. All right, finally. All right, you've been up for 23 hours straight. You, imperfect human being, working on things tirelessly will not make them perfect. So stop trying and stop expecting that of yourself. Allow yourself to be imperfect. Be great at the things you need to be great at. Remember the 80-20 rule. 20% of the inputs will produce 80% of the outputs. And in many areas of life, if you can get to 80% of things, that's going to be good enough for you to move on to something else or something else or something else. Do not get yourself stuck in the details, as we talked about a few master classes ago. You get stuck in the details because you think, oh, I'm paying attention to detail. No, you're sticking yourself in the details and getting stuck in the mud, like I talked about in master class 1459. Well, listen to that one again if you need a refresher. Work on your game. Dre all day.